This video presents 7 demonstrations having to do with the rather remarkable properties of afterimages and colors. Each demonstration requires 80 seconds. You may pause the video now and take note of when each demonstration begins. That way you may skip over all but the few demonstrations that you might be interested in. Note that the first 6 demonstrations involve single colors, while the last demonstration involves a landscape image with several colors. Please understand that the properties of colors, and their afterimages, have already been studied in detail well beyond my video. See for example, the 2017 paper by Riccardo Manzotti. You may pause the video at any time to take notes, if needed. Moreover, the first 6 demonstrations are restricted to a color on a white background, and the background color makes a difference in the more general case. Having made those disclosures, understand that I will still present speculations on the edge of science and philosophy, and these may potentially carry significant ramifications. In this first demonstration, and the first 6 demonstrations, you are to focus your attention on the black cross above the rectangle. Do not take your eyes off the black cross. Stare at the black cross, and you may occasionally blink. The blue is in the peripheral of your vision. This demonstration will show that starting with the color blue leads to the afterimage yellow. You will become aware of the yellow afterimage in the peripheral even as you continue to focus on the black cross. Had the black cross been moved to the middle of the rectangle, I found that the afterimage is less sharp in some cases. This seems to imply that we have 2 functions in vision, one for focusing on a point, and one that is more subconscious and takes in the whole peripheral. While the 2 functions are active and support one vision, there may be interference created among them in some cases. For example, trying to catch an afterimage as a point of attention may prove counterproductive. Hence, it's better to accept the afterimage passively and keep it in the peripheral by focusing on the black cross. Next, we will repeat the demonstration, but starting with the color yellow, and see where that goes. Continue to focus on the black cross, and let the afterimage come out in the peripheral. Remarkably, the color blue is returned as the afterimage. In fact, the color blue and yellow make a complementary pair as described in the RGB additive color model. Complementary colors are additive in the sense that when they are combined in a so-called additive mixture, they make white light. The additive mixture is not the same as what comes by mixing pigments of paint. When paint is mixed, what comes out follows the principle of a subtractive mixture, and this recognizes that colors are absorbed by pigments and what gets reflected and seen is what's not absorbed. Understand that our personal experience of color is subjective, that is, I have no way of knowing that the blue you say you are seeing looks identical to the blue that I see. Color in this sense is what David Chalmers refers to as an example of qualia, with his treatment of the hard problem of consciousness. Nevertheless, some of the qualia we experience represents a shared experience, as found in these demonstrations. While the name of any color is by convention, it remains possible that folks that see yellow could actually be seeing what I call blue, and vice versa. I could settle the issue if only I could step inside their head and check, but that is impossible. It remains remarkable, however, that complementary pairs of colors, like blue and yellow taken together, have a shared reality across observers while leaving our naming convention otherwise undisturbed. The exceptions are those that experience color blindness. In this demonstration, the afterimage created by the color red will be found. Red is one of the primary colors in the RGB model. Continue to focus on the black cross, and the color cyan will eventually show us the color of the afterimage. Just as vision may indicate a focus point, and a peripheral view, vision also comes with 2 apparent windows making the peripheral, the window showing the dominant color, in this case red, and the window showing the afterimage that results. What is significant is that the afterimage represents a primitive memory of consciousness having to do with vision. Moreover, Because this memory relates to the property of light that shows memory as the color complement, we note that qualia is found connecting strangely to fundamental physics. This hints that consciousness relates to something fundamental, hinting of a panpsychist substance between the two windows. It's like the two windows form a prism that represents the separation of white light and has a transcendental existence, and in our world we see both the dominant color and the color complement making a memory. The additive combination makes white light and supports the qualia showing color in relativistic terms. If consciousness represents a fundamental mirror that makes a mirror universe, then reality is innately two-sided. This special mirror is such that we cannot tell which side we are on because the physics is the same in each half, and what is apparent becomes a relational pattern. The two halves are held in a quantum superposition making one reality. This demonstration will generate the afterimage of the color cyan, which should be red. In my personal experience involving the color cyan, it was very important for my focus to be on the black cross above the rectangle. When I stare at the middle of the cyan triangle, I pick up a lot of interference, and instead of seeing a red afterimage I see more yellow. It might be interesting to rerun some of the demonstrations, while staring at the middle of the rectangle, to gain experience with the interference. The first time through, however, continue to stare at the black cross. Now note that me talking to you, while you stare at the black cross, does not interfere with the afterimage. Language, and directing one's attention to the black cross, has been described as a left brain function, that is, it's all part of linear thinking. Vision, and the peripheral, is more a right brain function. And it's interesting now that the right brain is able to detect the two-sided nature of the visual sphere, including visual memories that reflect back from this sphere as complementary colors. Passive memories and passive observations do not represent all the defining characteristics of consciousness, however. We also recognize linear patterns of causation, and our own intentionality, an example being our intent to focus on the black cross. The fact that all this linear communication can be passed to you while you stare at the black cross not only proves my points about afterimages, the exercise also becomes a sort of mindfulness training that turns the video into a guided meditation. Green is the remaining color in the RGB color system, and its afterimage is the color magenta. By staring at the black cross, the color magenta will emerge as the afterimage in the peripheral. We have described vision as being derived from a two-sided mirror, where we cannot tell which side we are on by using physics. This is the property of two-sidedness that I write about in my paper, Two-Sidedness, Relativity and CPT Symmetry. The world as we know it looks grossly asymmetrical, and because we cannot go into someone else's brain to see for ourselves what it is they are seeing, subjectivity never goes away, but we are left with a radical two-sidedness as part of shared reality, so I figure. I am not alone in this view, as there are cosmological theories that describe the universe, and what is being described is a universe with two sides. The first theory is the CPT symmetric universe described by Neil Tarok. In this model, one universe is reflected across the presumed Big Bang, and opposite the Big Bang is the anti-universe. The second theory is the Janus point theory proposed by Julian Barber. This view is just like Tarok's theory, except that it's based on the gravitational arrow of time, and the reflection is across the Janus point. Both of these are describing a mirror universe, and in both cases, we would be unable to tell which side we lived on. On both sides, the universe would appear to be expanding, and entropy would seem to increase. We could claim that we lived in the world of matter, and that the other side is composed of antimatter. But that is only a naming convention, like the names of colors green and magenta. There is no way to tell the two sides apart, and they could be completely overlaid making a unified whole, like the colors green and its afterimage, magenta, that was just produced. Or is it magenta, and its afterimage, green? I will leave some references now, and you are free to pause the video to take notes. In this demonstration, We will watch the color magenta induce an afterimage that is the color green. Continue to focus your attention to the black cross, and let the afterimage emerge in the peripheral. We considered the property of two-sidedness during prior demonstrations, and it will be considered again. In the King James Bible, Exodus, chapter 3, verse 14, God explains to Moses, "I am that I am." What could this mean? If you were to tell us who you are, you might just point at a picture of yourself. Or you might point at your reflection in a mirror, and say, "I am that." But if it was a special mirror, where you could not tell which side you were on, you would say, "I am that I am." That is the remarkable implication of two-sidedness, as we watch magenta return to green, knowing only that magenta is relative to green. The afterimage may be accepted in emotional terms too, by suspending judgment and showing gratitude when it eventually emerges in the peripheral. This is keeping your eyes on the black cross, as important information is permitted to bubble up from the subconscious unrestricted. Energy healers are said to see auras, perhaps generated by bioelectricity. I have every reason to suspect that auras are ontologically equivalent to afterimages. Moreover, there is a connection to hypnagogic images, and you may refer to my video, Inducing Hypnagogic Images, if you want to learn more. In this last demonstration, there is no black cross above the image to focus on. Rather, favorable results are achieved by focusing and staring at an arbitrary point in the middle of the image. If you are watching this video on a computer, move your mouse pointer to the middle of the image and stare at it while letting the afterimage emerge effortlessly in the peripheral. I have selected some background music that will take you to the end of the video.